And now it's time for the RPM podcast. You were just petting your laptop.
So no, no, it's actually a technical problem.
It's frozen on bustyasianbeauties.com right
No!
now.
Are you ready for me to have an Eric Brennan moment? Race fans are kind of ignorant because. So this is what you sound like, Eric. So because
That's fantastic.
but it's because it's not explained to them.
How the am I going to edit this?
He dropped
the bomb. You know what? You.
Oh, man. I think we
All
broke it.
right, I guess that's time for a break, Josh.
I've been struggling to find the right words tonight.
Well, those are scenes from the last 24 hours of the RPM podcast. We started our
I
own
forgot we're doing the
telethon.
podcast. You
Yeah.
know, I forgot that, Eric's sober and the main volumes are up now, that we can actually do a damn show.
The 24 hours of RPM. Hello, everybody. Joining us today, we have Josh Matthews holding down the fort in the Matthews Family Studios down in Waretown, New Jersey. What's up, Josh?
Not much now that I got my audio figured out.
We also have Sam Ballard Jr. live from the University of North Carolina in Charlotte. Hi, Sam.
Hi.
And I, for the first time, am able to join you listeners from the comfort of my bedroom in the prestigious and beautiful island of Staten.
That is an
Yes, I know.
oxymoron.
Yes, yes.
I feel like that's the third time you said that.
So it probably is. It probably is. Staten Island is a wonderful place, and I can't wait to leave it. Now, one other thing that was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. Wasn't that from like a Disney movie? The Tigger says that. You know, he does. He does. We're all tired. We've been trying it. We've been going at this for the last 24 hours.
I thought you said something else.
Sam. That's how you know we're tired. Turkey Derby 44 is in the books, and it was absolutely incredible from start to finish. Energetic, entertaining, enlightening. Yes, enlightening in some aspects. Like the epiphany I'm going to have when I go to sleep.
And lightning because Kyle McGowan was on the flag stand.
Yes, I remember lightning. I don't remember when that was. Was that a year ago or 2 years ago?
A year.
I don't even remember. But either way, it was an incredible weekend, and it felt so good to be back at the Speedway and to be back in a rhythm and a groove of things. And boy, a lot. What's that expression? The more things change, the more they kind of stay the same.
Okay.
In the premier class at Wall Stadium Speedway in the top two, Jimmy Blewett still reigns supreme. Swept the Larson Brothers Quick Time Award in the Tour Type Modified and Wall Modified Time Trial session. Went on to win the Tour Type Modified event after just putting on a clinic essentially in that division. And then in the Wall and SK Modified feature event that wrapped up the Saturday portion of the Turkey Derby, it was a late pass and a late duel with Stephen Reed, which was thrilling, where he ended up taking the win there as well. Blewett actually won 3 out of his 5 attempts at Turkey Derby wins, also winning the limited late model race, coming up short in the sportsman division rank and suffering mechanical problems both times in the dirt modifieds. That is the premise or the fascia of Turkey Derby 44, as we bid it adieu.
That's it.
But that's it, yeah.
I think there's a little bit more to it than that.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Sam's had a long night. But on the bright side, this system is working amazing. I think we can all agree.
Yes. And go ahead, Sam.
What was also working amazing was the Wall Stadium track crew and the track, and it was a fantastic race. I mean, if you weren't there, you really missed out. You really did, and you're a loser.
Yeah, the whole weekend was absolutely amazing from start to finish. I don't know. I had a blast. Eric, you?
Turkey Derby for me is it's more important to my Thanksgiving weekend than it is actually having a meal with family. It's not. I don't. The land of misfit toys is what it is. When I get to the racetrack, it's like I'm home. And the people are happy to be there, and it just kind of. And I wrote this. I think I wrote this on social media on the drive in. Turkey Derby just kind of summarizes what it means to be a race fan and a racer. because we're all crazy enough to ignore the fact that the vast majority of us have a 4-day weekend and we elect to go play and watch race cars.
Mm.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. And oh, by the way, we typically do it in 30-degree weather. We were really blessed with the fact that it was about 50, 60 degrees on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievably, like it was not seasonal weather for Turkey Derby, but it paid off and it was amazing. And it really does kind of define why we all do what we do. And for many, it's their last shot at trying to get into victory lane or to play with their car or to tune a little bit better for the season. And, for us, it's our last chance to be able to have a hands-on level of involvement at the track for the calendar year. So it does kind of bring all that together on a weekend that was derived for bringing people together and gathering and family. And Turkey Derby just kind of covers all that for me personally. And Josh, for you, it held a little bit of a higher meaning because it was your first time back in a race car since you were diagnosed, as many of us have talked about before, with type APL leukemia. And it was a promise that factory stock sponsor, title sponsor at Wall Stadium Speedway, and also a longtime supporter of the RPM podcast, Tim O'Shea, made to you. Josh, once you're healthy enough, you're going to get back behind the wheel of one of my cars. And he made it happen for you. And I'm just curious how the weekend went for you.
Honestly, it didn't start off the best. I think I hear Sam playing with a wire though for some reason. I don't know. I thought I heard
That was
something.
weird.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it started off pretty not so great because I ended up running into the back of Rob Longo. He was he was getting off the track and. During practice, and we had a whole pack going down the backstretch, and you always look through the car in front of you, and it's got Riggleman in front of me, and I saw Rob up there, but I didn't realize he was going that slow right away, I guess, and Riggleman dove out of the way at last second. By the time I saw it, all I could do was lock it up, and I went right through him. Sent him into the sand barrels that are right there protecting the wall as you exit the track. Rob went up on his side and then came back down on all four wheels. I mean, he was okay, thankfully. And, the car had some, definite, damage, but they were able to repair it and get it back out there, and he ran some great times. And, Eric, I think you said he finished, 8th?
Yeah, he got 8th in that first feature. In fact, I'm laughing because Snapchat is a wonderful thing.
No.
I actually took a picture of us, and Ricky Collins just texted me, and he said, "You guys better talk about Josh trying to kill Rob Longo." So,
It's funny. That's the first thing Ricky came up and told me when Josh did that. He goes, "You better talk about this on the podcast."
Well, Josh brought it up. In fact, Rob ended up 8th in the first feature, and Josh, you ended up 13th, and then you went on to finish in the 9th spot on Sunday. So that was a rather strong comeback for you. And
but on Sunday, Elliott helped me with that. So
Elliott and Rob McCormick.
Yes.
Elliott Wall ended up grabbing the win in the factory stocks on Friday. Also, we thought he took the checkered flag, gave one of the best victory lane interviews you will ever hear. Hopefully that's uploaded at some point. But nevertheless, it was taken away from him post-race tech, and Richie Byrne got the win. On the four-cylinder side, Brian Osborne did exactly what Jimmy Blewett did on the top-tier level of racing at Wall. Swept the weekend after winning the championship. Great job by him. Sunday was great because his dad joined him in victory lane as the official last oval track race of the season at Wall. Also, on the Friday portion of Turkey Derby, Jarrett DiGiantomaso got the win. What an upcoming story for that young man. Him and his brother Karsten ended up coming up through the ranks of the Wall Stadium Sunday Series, elected to jump right into the big Troyer race car that is the Sportsman, and they've taken off with it from there. In fact, Jarrett won, Karsten finished 5th. They were both by the bonfire at the end of the night celebrating with their family and their team, and it was a sight to see for sure. Also on Saturday, on the TQ side, Ryan Tidman went to victory lane, holding off Matt Janish. And we also had Andrew Krause win the best feature event of Turkey Derby 44 by far, the dirt modified event. And guys, I don't know how you feel about it.
I absolutely agree. The dirt modifieds, I'm an asphalt fan, but dirt modifieds on asphalt is just, it's chaos, and it is so much fun to watch. And on top of that, I have to say Andrew Krause is one of my favorite guys to watch doing that because he has that asphalt experience anyway. and knowing what he can do with that dirt car. I mean, and nobody's perfect. And at one point, he got into to 3 and 4 and slid way up high. I mean, a few feet off the guardrail, and he stayed with the throttle, saved it. Rolled right through. I mean, one of the best saves I've ever seen. And then made up the ground to Dockenhausen. Is it?
Yes, it was Ed Dockenhausen who set the quick time,
Bless
and
you.
I actually had to end up deja vu, Sam. I actually ended up having to read Dockenhausen's name off my lineup sheet phonetically
For
for
what?
about 12
10
laps.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow. Man, what a close.
It's almost like you've heard this before.
Yeah. But yeah,
I kid.
I mean, and they were battling for pretty much the entire race. And with the last few laps, I know they caught up with some lap traffic, and Kraus just saw one opportunity, was able to dive down low and get to the lead and take the win. But I'll tell you, what a show! I mean, really, all the shows were good. Every feature was pretty good, with the exception of maybe the Legends on Sunday because they wrecked all the time. But I want to say the factory stocks. I mean, they've had a rough year with a lot of cars getting torn up. The 2 races at Turkey Derby had to be absolutely the best of the year for them. Everybody raced with a lot of respect, and we had a couple cautions, a couple spins. I know Brian O'Shea. I mean, he did a lot of work. Helping getting my car ready, or the car was driving ready. Tim's oldest son TJ was also there helping out, doing a lot of work. And then on Sunday, just before the heat race, we found out that my right front, the upper control arm, was waffled pretty good. I had been driving it and running 16.3s anyway. And Scott Marr and Ronnie the Rocket Mullen jumped in, and you got that changed in minutes, it seemed like. I mean, I can't thank them enough, as well as obviously Tim O'Shea for putting me in the car, and the whole experience was absolutely amazing to be back in the car. And I'm not going to lie, thinking about the season they had, when I was sitting down on the not on the grid trying to run Sam over, but down on the track lined up. I was nervous. I'm like, man, this car is not going to come back in one piece. There's no way. And honestly, that was some good hard racing with fenders. And what? Fenders make
Those
it better.
damn fenderless sons of guns.
Yeah. And seriously, the car came back in one piece. The only real damage I got was from running into the back of Rob. So, I mean, it was just awesome to be back and involved with that. And if you want to talk about open wheel, I want to say RC2U Portable Racing, Dan Thomas, our buddy, he's made us an RPM podcast modified RC car. And that's I would flip it because it doesn't have fenders. So, I mean,
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's really cool.
I mean, you about wrecked Rob Longo anyway, and he has fenders.
Exactly. If I can do that much damage with fenders, just imagine open wheel. But
Always got to have protection.
Yes. But folks at home, if you have any birthday parties, kids parties, adult party, it doesn't matter, corporate events, RC2U Portable Racing, it's a lot of fun. He has different track layouts and all that stuff. He's going to be at the Motorsports event coming up in January, and I got to check with him, but he had mentioned possibly having us take up the other portion of space that he has for his setup there. And maybe we could record or do whatever there. I don't know if you guys are interested or not, but I think it would be pretty damn cool to do. Eric, you probably have to check with your schedule, as always, and you'll be 5 hours late.
As always.
Yep. Yep.
And also to touch on the motorsports thing real quick, I got to sit on Saturday, Saturday, and watch the Legend race with a former / future Legend car driver, Casey Robichaud. And we had a nice chat, about everything involving racing. So it was pretty cool to sit and talk with her. She's got a lot of knowledge. She's a smart girl. She really is. And on top of that, she's going to be in the Miss Motorsports competition at the Motorsports event. So good luck. We're rooting for you. And then back to all the other incredible racing at Turkey Derby. I mean, you're talking about the tour mods. I mean, they had 150 laps to run, and I know for a while they were running single file, but that's just being smart and trying to survive. You got to make it to the end with that.
Yep.
But there were surprisingly few cautions, and it was hard racing. They weren't just laying back; they were putting the bumper down.
Yeah, and it was, I think both modified feature events on Saturday, they were, Josh, you good?
Yeah, I had a little cough.
Okay.
And that's what the mute button's for.
So, I see. I gotta get used to this. And for those of you who may be watching the RPM podcast for the first time or listening for the first time, this is the first time that the three of us are in 3 different locations trying to make this work, and there's a reason for it. Now, if we're able to perfect this, we're hoping to be able to do this with many guests. The guest list for the RPM podcast right now is huge.
Huge.
I mean,
huge.
I say huge when I do this thing. I meant the huge. I know, like one of those. A lot of people, including guys with a southern flair, not just our buddy Sam, although I think Sam on my webcam is over here right now.
Over there.
Brian Kramer. So over here, over there, wherever.
I'm over
Brian
here now.
Kramer, they call him Hot Pockets, spotter on top 3 series in NASCAR, also for the ARCA ranks for Joe Gibbs Racing this past season. He's interested in trying to be on. Ryan Flores, your outgoing indoor champion, also tire changer for the Wood Brothers, Ryan Blaney last season. Not quite sure what he may be doing next year with the new rule that just came out, which I wish him nothing but the best. And hopefully we'll be able to talk to him about what he is going to be doing next year when that news comes down. He's interested in being a part of the show. Local drivers Scott Riggleman, Elliott Wall. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. And this technology and this method of being able to bring that to you as the listener is huge because it kind of offers the convenience and comfort for everyone to be a part of it and to give you the best content imaginable. And this is the next step in that. So thank you, Josh, for figuring it out. Thank you, Sam, for being a guinea pig when we first gave it a shot.
You're
And
welcome.
now it's all come to fruition. Also, semi off topic. How about that trophy? Isn't that trophy nice? My little announcer trophy up there.
Gosh, you know what's amazing? The last 2 episodes we've done for this, I've made fun of the trophy. I don't bring it up because I figured he'd be tired of the jokes, and he brings it up.
Well, I feel like Vanna White. I mean, I love this thing.
That's your participation trophy at Wall Stadium.
I was for being a good announcer. Don't make fun. I'm gonna cry. I'm getting really sad.
That's why you announced Turkey Derby, right?
Yes. That's why I'm there. I forgot a few. Well, I didn't forget, but I just
You forgot. It's okay.
bags under the eyes. Mike Alcaro was going for the perfect season at Wall Stadium Speedway. I'm playing with a key that I just pulled out of a safe that is holding up my laptop at the moment. Went 9 for 9, won the Saturday portion of Turkey Derby 44 in his legend car. But he was caught up in a big crash on Sunday, and that took him out of contention of being able to go for a perfect 10 for 10.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, the win ended up going to Richie Davidowitz, Long Island driver, who grabbed his first win of the season. He has won at Wall Stadium Speedway before. And also our Turkey Derby winners consist of that of Scott Holmes, who won in the Dirt Sportsman competition on Sunday, Brian Ludwig, who won in the Dirt Outlaw Stock competition on Sunday, and also in the Demolition Derby, we had driver Devin Schmidt ending up winning not just the 6-car 4-cylinder competition, but also the 15 to 18 car big car competition, which means that Devin Schmidt was the guy you wanted to bring to the bar with you that night because he won a lot of cash, and that was cool.
Yeah.
What a night.
I would say it was also good to see Chris Felber back out there. He ran with the factory stock since they started, but he was in the Dirt Outlaw stock. He brought his other car out, put some dirt tires on, and finished 6th with those guys. So
A lot of people came out.
Yeah, it was a good. I mean, the car counts were absolutely astonishing this weekend. I mean, we were talking about sending cars home. And in how many divisions, Eric?
We had a consi for the Sportsman on Friday, the Legend cars on Saturday and Sunday, wall modified, tour type modified. TQs had to run an extra car because they had 27 when they were only going to start 26. Factory stocks had 24 and I think 26 on the weekend. I mean, the numbers were huge across all divisions,
Yes.
and the drivers came from huge. They came from California, North Carolina, Canada. I mean, it doesn't matter which direction your compass told you to go. It seems like that if you're a true bare and bones bred racer, you were at Wall Stadium Speedway this past weekend, and that's what Turkey Derby is all about.
Yeah, the crowd showed it absolutely. I mean, the pits were sold out on Saturday by 9:00. I forget what time they sold out on Friday, and then the grandstands on Saturday. I mean, there were a couple seats down at the very bottom that were open, but up at the top, it was standing. Standing room only up there, and they were 6 rows deep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was amazing. It was great to see. So, I mean, absolutely a success in every form, I think. The demo derby. How many cars we had for that? Like 15 to 18, something like that for the 8 cylinders.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, I think we had 6 for the 4 cylinders, and then just like you said, like somewhere between 15 and 18 of the big cars. It's definitely the most interest in terms of entries that we've had at a demolition derby in quite some time at Wall Stadium Speedway, and
it was a great show.
It was filled with drama and excitement right from the very start to the end.
Oh, tell me about it.
Fire and fire extinguishers and all. It was a good time.
And guess what? Eric Brennan kept his pants on, and it was a great weekend.
Only at the track.
Yes,
Eric. I was trying to give you more credit than you deserve, and you just ruined it.
I kid because I cared somewhat. Also, somewhat unrelated news. Want to wish a very, 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 very happy congratulations, if that's the thing, to our buddy Dave Green, his wife Cassie, on the birth of their son Lincoln Dave Green today. They waited a long time for that baby. In fact, They were shooting for the record, but they weren't able to get there. Baby's got some speed in him still, so he didn't want to wait that much longer. But very, very happy for them after seeing the birth of that child. I hear somebody giggling. I can't see who it is.
I think Sam has the sniffles.
Yeah, my bad. Well, if we're going on congratulations with kids, I want to congratulate my sister and brother-in-law for welcoming their first child in the world and my first niece. So we're very excited in my family about that.
Nice.
So wait, you really are Uncle Sam now?
Oh.
Yeah, I am.
Oh.
Wow. How come we didn't notice this sooner?
I am. So it's something in the water around here, Eric. So I wouldn't take any chances if I were you.
Womp womp.
Yeah. Duly noted. On that note, I'm going to take a few second break. When we come back on this side, we're going to preview Trenton for you very quickly, and then we will kind of roll into the loose ends we want to tie up before we officially kick off the postseason edition of the RPM podcast. And that's pretty much all I got. I don't know. We'll be right back to the RPM podcast. Don't go anywhere.
Hey everyone, this is Eric Brennan from the RPM Podcast. If you're looking for a dependable full auto repair and preventative maintenance center, then you need to check out O'Shea's Auto Repair in Wall, New Jersey. The family man himself, Tim O'Shea, has been providing the highest quality of automotive repair since 2000 on both domestic and imported cars, trucks, and SUVs. From race cars to street cars, O'Shea's Auto Repair covers it all. For more information, visit their website at o'sheasautorepair.com. O'Shea's Auto Repair, supporter of the RPM Podcast and proud sponsor of the O'Shea Auto Repair Factory stops at Wall Stadium Speedway.
Welcome back to the RPM Podcast. Josh Matthews in the Matthews Family Studios. Sam Ballard Jr. Enjoying the comfort of his University of North Carolina Charlotte campus. And, of course, I'm Eric Brennan coming to you from, it's 12:30 a.m. All right, we're all on this red-eye flight together, Samuel.
Yep.
We'll be okay. Just be happy you're not in Staten Island.
I still have people drink.
So,
Oh my goodness.
So the racing season may be officially over at Wall Stadium Speedway, but it is not over here on the East Coast, particularly in the state of New Jersey. In fact, now over 2 hours ago, I had an opportunity to participate in a brief bit of a track walk over at the indoor surface at Trenton. Want to thank Old Man Brennan, that's my father's work nickname, for helping out the track and safety team.
What do they call you?
Me? Just Eric. Just Eric.
Yeah, that's a lot. Anyway, continue.
If you ask my coworker John Larcher, he's got plenty of nicknames for me, but none of them are safe for television or radio or podcasting. So
Or
you
for
could ask him. So definitely not for church. Oh my! He actually lives down in Vineland, but his house is next to a church.
How are your coworkers? I mean, like that's like how big is this company? Because it seems like you're. A decent sized company, but how does he live down in like Southwest Jersey? And
we have a couple projects going on down there.
Okay.
And that's why I want to make the move down to that like Central Jersey. But to just tell you a little bit about John, when him and his wife want to have some alone time and get away from the kids, he says that they decide to go out to the RV in the driveway, but if they want to spice things up, they'll drive it across the lawn into the church parking lot.
Why'd you tell me that?
I'm just so you know who I have to work with on a daily basis. Just saying.
Dilly.
They have to put up with you though, so I think it's fair.
Yeah, I'm not that bad. Not honestly.
Have you ever tried to hang out with yourself?
No.
While you're sober.
No. It's dreadful. I am no fun. No, I'm kidding. I'm fun. I'm a good time. I'm tired.
Anyway,
now as far as Trenton goes, they actually the track is coming along really good. I saw Mr. Grosso there working the pavement. Well, it's not pavement anymore. It's clay. In fact, it's clay that got basically from East Windsor, and he that man puts his heart and soul into any surface he touches. We've seen that before, and he was out there, one of the last people to leave in terms of prepping that track. And I'm excited for what we're going to see. There's a little bit of bank to the outside portion of the track and the corners. I understand tomorrow, Thursday, the 30th, today now, will be the day where the state police will come in, kind of observe everything. They may have a paid practice session. And also, Warren Alston headed up the entire safety team getting there. John Russell, Kyle Reed, Chris Thomas, the other Chris Wall Stadium Speedway, Rich Marr, Mike Lamore. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anybody. They were all there in attendance. To also Mr. Spencer from Jimmy Blewett's team. They'll all be there, kind of stationing all the safety equipment, everything that goes into making that event, go round and round. And I think it's going to be something very special. The objective seems to be the track promoter was there as well. His family was there. I think they're trying to make it like an East Coast version of the Chili Bowl. And considering how Trenton went over the last few seasons, the racing was amazing. But the interest level, considering how close Trenton is logistically to all of the other major forms of motorsports, it seems like it would be a big hit, but maybe it needed this little bit of a twist or this little bit of a spin in order to make it a true success or a staple like Atlantic City has become over the years.
Right.
And with that in mind, I think they're heading in the right direction, and I'm genuinely enthused about this racing weekend in Trenton, especially after being able to see the track being put together.
I'm excited. I'm planning to be there. I think it's going to be a good show. Even if it's absolute chaos, it's going to be entertaining. And I like the venue. I know the parking isn't the best there, and that may affect, some of the interest. But
it's ghetto to park there in Trenton.
It is. But at the same time, I've had a blast going there. And I used to go there for the Trenton Titans, then the Trenton Devils, then the Trenton Titans again, for hockey games for some time. And I like the venue, and I know that the crowd hasn't been what they had hoped, but I think this has a good chance to turn it around, because if nothing else, it's going to be something to see. I mean, it could be like an ice skating hippo, fun to watch, but it's not pretty. So,
Eric, you brought up the banking on the track. Do you think the banking on the track is going to give an advantage at all to the outside, or not really?
I think that's the objective, whether or not it's enough to make a difference or whether or not the way that the dirt will move. If you look at it, it looks like a hard packed clay. But apparently from what the guys told me is when they used to go to East Windsor and they would see how that stuff would end up, being kicked around, it does get a bit dusty, they said. So I'm not seeing that. It almost looks like it has a texture to it of like an Eldora truck race, where it's so hard packed and so slicked and so shiny that you don't think it's going to become, little dust particles that quickly. But as we've seen in the dirt race at Eldora, and, as we will probably see this weekend, over time, it does begin to break up and it does create that powder effects per se. And whether that
gritty
produces
beer
race
on
or not, I don't know.
Saturday, I think, Eric.
It's still beer though, so it's still good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm excited. I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. I think I am going to try to get there Friday. I wasn't going to, but I think I'm going to try to get there Friday just to kind of watch the track kind of mature throughout the night.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I give the people at Trenton a lot of props to changing it up and realizing that if they didn't really do anything, nothing good was going to come out of this. Of coming back and just tearing. Nobody wants to see torn up race cars.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a twist, and it's a concrete example. When we were working at Wall Stadium this past Sunday, there was a radio message that was relayed. We had the Dirt Sportsman and the Dirt Outlaw stocks in action on Sunday, and in the essence of time, the transmission came in. You know what? We're going to run them both together. And what we all thought that meant was they were going to put them all out on the track at the same time because they have a similar wheelbase and it would be okay. What he meant is that they are going to move the schedule around so the dirt cars go out in the same block of time where it would be the Dirt Sportsman and then the Dirt Outlaw stocks. But the visual of running those two classes together, I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be epic. Like, people are going to want to do this every year. It turned out to not come to fruition, but the theory of doing something different and changing it up on a dramatic level, having a dirt indoor race on the East Coast is a big deal. And being there to watch it play out, I'm excited to say that I'm going to be a part of it. Whether it turns out to be a huge success or it turns out to be a bit of a flop, which I don't really see how that's possible. But either way, I'm happy that I'm going to be able to be there to see what will come of this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to – I don't know. It's going to be something to watch is what it's going to come down to. And, I know Sam's anxious to get in the car and go out there.
Well, yeah, I feel like I would just mention this, that it's one of the bucket items list that I have to drive. If I ever had a chance to drive a race car, I would want to drive an indoor race, not on dirt, but on syrup, because I don't think I'd be able to race dirt because I know who likes to get dirty, But no, I don't know, just something cool, especially Atlantic City, going down there, hanging out at Hooters with Josh and Eric Brennan. Actually, no, Eric Brennan didn't come with us the last time we hung out at Hooters.
He walked in eventually.
Yeah, that's true. And just hanging out and just getting the vibe and the excitement of the indoor season is like the pastime we use to kill the time for the winter time. It's just exciting and something that I would definitely look into doing if I had money and wasn't a broke college student.
Hashtag millennial.
Thanks, Obama.
Yes.
That's funny because it's kind of true.
In Atlantic City, so that was the reason for my semi-absence and departure. But it worked itself out, thankfully. If you're interested in the story, stop me at Trenton and I'll tell you all about it. Now, I'm pumped for Trenton. I'm pumped for indoor season. I'm pumped for everything. I just got a very weird message pop up on the air.
Is that it?
Which disease is it?
No, it's about a friend's cat that.
Oh, it has malaria.
Nah.
Okay. Anyway, so I think that's really we don't know what's going to happen in Trenton, so we're just going to have to go and see, and then we'll report back afterwards. But I'm excited for it. It's really all that matters.
Picks or it didn't happen, boys.
Yep, you got it. In the NASCAR world, some sad news.
Yeah, it was announced yesterday that 92-year-old Bud Moore, legendary car owner, innovator, and pioneer of the sport, ended up passing away yesterday. Bud was somebody who helped pave the way for not only the national scale of innovation in stock car racing and professional auto racing, but also on a local level as well. And something that stuck out to me was something that was written by longtime editor-in-chief at NASCAR Illustrated, or also NASCAR Scene, Steve Wade. And he ended up putting out the fact that Bud once told him, I'll lay in bed at night and I'll wake up, maybe a few times, and I'll run over to my pen and my notepad and I'll write down 10 things. And I go back to sleep knowing that NASCAR is probably going to be able to catch 7 of them, but at least I know that I'm still 3 to the good. And it was that creative and innovative drive and nature of Bud Moore which has helped propel him to the top of the ranks in terms of legendary car ownership. And he also was able to accelerate not only the progress and progression of his own team, but also the entire sport of auto racing. And the loss of Bud Moore is something which, it was a day which many of us know is going to come. It's going to come for all of us. But for Bud, it's a loss that was felt throughout the entire garage area and pit area and the sport of auto racing as a whole. Tributes poured in, talking about Bud being a decorated World War II veteran and hero, and also somebody who was just really an all-around good guy. And
Rebel badass.
That too.
Yeah.
And it's a loss that is felt industry-wide, and his memory will continue to be honored by anybody who elects to try to do something a little bit different with their race car, even if it's in the gray area of the rule book. And with that, we salute Bud Moore and everything that he stood for in the sport of auto racing. And he will dearly be missed. But the legacy will live on. Just,
Yeah. I
it's,
don't know what else to say on that. Continuing in the NASCAR theme, the rule change that's been handed down for pit stops. Do you want to break this down, Eric?
well, from what I gathered, they're going to be going down to 5-man pit stops. Now, how it's going to work, yeah, exactly. I don't exactly know. One of the people that we talked about in terms of being interested in being a guest in the RPM podcast in the future is Ryan Flores, our reigning indoor champion, going to come back, hopefully try to defend his title this summer, along with the fact that he now has a full-fledged family back in North Carolina. But Ryan was the front tire changer on the number 21 Ryan Blaney car in the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series for the Wood Brothers. I got to see Ryan, who ran a car at Turkey Derby, another one of the Outlaw Body Team Outlaw teams, as a teammate to that of Jimmy Blewett. And I asked him, I said, Ryan, do you know what you're doing next year? And he said, well, I thought I was. He said, now all of us pit crew guys are just kind of wondering what's going to happen, because when you ask, those positions from 40 pit crews, a lot of guys are going to be left at the dance without a dancing partner. Ryan, on a personal level, is good enough that I'm confident he will find a home somewhere, especially because he has given so much to the sport. But when you look at it from that perspective and you see what is being done in the long run to some of these guys who have dedicated their time, effort, and energy in being an all-star pit crew member, and to now have it taken away by a rule change, which I'm not sure will have that big of an effect, it's upsetting. So, because a lot of people don't think of that. They don't think of the families and lives that it affects. And Sam, you're right down there in the heart of North Carolina, where people live, eat, breathe, and sleep racing, and they make a living out of it. And a change like this is rather dramatic.
Well, I don't think our fans are going to realize that, there goes the 11-second pit stop. I mean, I don't think there's any way these guys are going to be able to change 4 tires in less than 11 seconds, or as of right now. I mean, it's going to be different. But, I mean, I applaud NASCAR for getting less people on pit road, less people getting hurt, or possibility of getting hurt, though. So I think that's I mean, I can understand that. But, I mean, this does throw a lot of people back a little bit. Guys like Ryan Flores down here who risk it all to come down here, and all of a sudden now might be on the chopping block. It stinks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just kind of curious what this will lead to in the future, because, I mean, you think of limiting the number of, people over the wall like this, and, will it continue, will it not? And what else will you change, or what will the teams try to do to make up for having one less person? I mean, do you see the sport going to like the air jacks like you see in the 24 hours, in cars like that?
Air jacks is something in which they have talked about. I don't know if they're necessarily ready to go down that road, but it sounds like it's something that may be coming. But either way, I understand the need for it. One of the things that many people are starting to push for is on the truck series side. And again, I mean, the trucks do have still live action pit stops, but being that with the stage breaks, you don't see green flag pit stops that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are trying to advocate for the halftime break again in the truck series. Instead of having the 3 stages of racing, maybe try to break them up in halves or something like that. And, let them try to cut costs on the pit crew side on that level instead of affecting the premier class, the Cup series. And I think that's an idea that's gaining some traction, but whether or not it proves to anything, I don't know. But Austin Dillon, a couple of other guys. Yeah. A couple of the guys who have began, and again, this is a wholesale change, so a lot of teams have already begun practicing for it. And Austin Dillon tweeted that he's excited about it, and he thinks that it's going to be a game changer for the sport. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go down. I don't know what the times are going to look like. I also saw that NASCAR is going to standardize the type of pit gun that is going to be used because Joe Gibbs Racing apparently has been able to find a way to make all their time by using these special pit guns that they have had. And NASCAR's kind of taken that edge away from them a little bit by standardizing those pit guns. So
back to tire irons. That's what I say.
Yeah, there you go. The old school way. The old school way.
Yeah, no, who needs helmets?
Yeah. Not Eric.
No, not anymore.
Another protection joke.
Oh my goodness, I can't.
Something we're getting into in the next episode because I want to see a little more info on this yet. I mean, we have, I think, more than enough to talk about it, but between time and everything else, the charter lawsuit with BK Racing and all that's going to be something I want to get into. But we're going to save that for next week because this is Turkey Derby week. In open wheel, Formula One, something I found notable was Hulkenberg got a penalty. It was a 5-second penalty to be served at the next pit stop. Early on in the race, I get fairly early on, he was fighting with, who was it? Perez. And Perez had massive understeer and pushed wide and forced, unintentionally, but still forced Hulkenberg off the track. Hulkenberg rejoined, but basically had to cut part of the chicane to do that, and he ended up ahead of Perez. So Perez, like a typical racing driver, whined and complained. He has to give the spot back. And I don't know if Hulkenberg could have realistically joined any earlier than where he did, just because he would have had to have made he would have come on in the center of a chicane, which would have shot him right back across the track. I don't know. It was a terrible spot, so I'm not sure the penalty was entirely deserved. It should, if they wanted to force him just to give the spot back, I think that would have been fair, personally. But anyway, so he goes in the pits, serves the 5-second penalty, and then they begin to do their work on the car, the tire change. And it took 3 hits of the impact gun to get the nut off of the right rear wheel. So he ended up having a terrible pit stop on top of that, insult to injury. Oddly enough, he still came out ahead of Perez.
Mm.
It was just absolutely crazy. Sam put in here double donuts for the Silver Arrows because Bottas took the win.
That was a sick sight. I know Nick Rondeau would be having hissy fit, but that was really cool to watch.
Yeah, and then they were joined on the front stretch by Massa afterwards as well because it was his final race again.
Boo hoo!
Again. Yeah, there were no tears from me on that one, but because
there were no
I'm
balloons,
still
yeah.
the farewell from a year ago. I can't believe that Formula One is over. There's a lot of talk about what they're going to be doing going forward. Sam, I know you're a big fan of the new Formula One logo that they unveiled.
Oh, 100%, man. I could never think about quality art graphics like that, man. If only. But you want to know what, though? I give them a Liberty Media credit because they have changed the shape of F1 to the better. So they messed up the logo. That's okay. Give me the racing product. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Only if NASCAR could focus on stuff that actually matters and not other stuff.
Yeah. Overall, it wasn't a terrible race. It wasn't the best race of the year, but it wasn't terrible to watch. Um, I mean,
It was
really,
pointless.
that's the problem with it because they didn't have NASCAR set up where they were fighting till the end of the final race for a champion. You already had a driver's champion and a constructor's champion. It was already done. So what is there to run for other than the win? At this race, and that's
Pride.
kind of frustrating. I mean, and that doesn't stop Hamilton. He wants to win everything, which I don't know if that's annoying or respectable.
It's
But
that
Yeah.
one kid in gym class that thinks it's the Olympics.
yes, that I'm kind of leaning towards that a little bit.
Ridiculous.
Also, another item to watch in Formula One news is Williams has been testing Robert Kubica a lot, and it sounds like that a return to Formula One is highly feasible for him. Remember the Polish driver who was a former Williams competitor and then was out with an injury, I think, after a big crash or something that took him out of competition for a little while, came back to running rally car racing, and then had another big accident, which nearly cost him the use of, I believe it was his left hand, where the guardrail came through the car. Was never back in Formula One, and now it appears as though he is showing a lot of speed in Formula One cars that he has been privy enough to test and partake in these practice sessions with. So we'll have to see if he will be the one to come in and replace Massa, or will they go with a young hot shoe that they've been testing out to pair up with Lance Stroll for 2018. Fun to watch.
Yes. Let's see. What else we got? Brittany Force. We forgot to mention her. She won the championship. So congrats. I mean,
Your dad was happy.
yeah, I'll bet he was. We don't cover NHRA nearly enough, but I wanted to give a quick nod because that's history making. And I know in the next episode we want to talk a lot about the Australian V8 supercars because they had just so much going on, and the championship decider was. I don't want to spoil it, but I mean, you're just going to look it up anyway. It was amazing. And we're going to tie that into some of our local stuff as well. That'll all be next week's episode. Everything this week had to concentrate on Turkey Derby. And with that, I think we're pretty much wrapped up on everything that we had aimed for. What do you guys think?
Heck yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Right. So I'm going to say, what have we learned today? Sam?
I've learned a lot in the past 24 hours here at the RPM podcast. I have learned that if I'm going to go out and practice a factory stock, it better not be in front of Josh Matthews.
Yes. Eric?
Even though I don't recall if it was in this take, if it was in take 3 of the RPM podcast or take 2, but I do know that Sam got tested. So
yeah, there goes that. I learned that. Is there anything else, Eric?
not that I know. Well,
Okay.
not that I can remember.
Eric likes turkey jerky.
I do.
Sam likes Coke syrup, not Aunt Jemima. Eric loves Tiggers.
Yeah.
They're a wonderful thing.
Tigger. There's only one. There's only one Tigger.
No.
T-I double gut er. That spells Tigger.
No, but isn't the wonderful thing about Tiggers?
Is that he's the only one?
Yeah, but it says it isn't plural.
I
think it's Tiggers with a apostrophe at the end to show possession.
Okay, all right, fine.
Whatever happened to Digger camera on the cup side?
I don't know.
The FCC is listening to this podcast with their finger on the send button to send us our letter to make us pay a fine right now.
I also learned that Eric feels like Vanna White. And
He looks like Vanna White. His personality's as white as Vanna White.
I'm doing this for Neil because he couldn't be here tonight, but he was here last night, and in our thing, this got brought up. Darien stands on the flag. We were standing by the Speedway Illustrated little tent setup that they had.
Yep.
And they had a shirt or a sign that said, "We stand for the flag." And I don't know why, but she had like a brain fart, and she said, "We stand on the flag." What? And yeah, so there you have it. Just to add, insult, and Neil, enjoy
Insult to dating Neil.
Yes.
I'm
enough.
funny.
Yes, you are.
Shots fired.
So, all right. I think that pretty much covers us for this week, and we hope to be back next week, hopefully earlier. Hopefully, Brennan can get his schedule together and show up on time, and yeah, we'll make things happen.
Josh, I also learned that Eric Brennan despises Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I didn't know that chicken fried chicken had sauce on it.
I didn't know John chicken.
It's gravy. It's gravy. It's not gravy.
You gotta have him eat some grits.
He likes. Yeah, I got a bunch of grits down here. You can have.
I'll bet.
Sounds like a good time. I'll be there. I'll pay for your plane ticket. You come to Trenton. I'll come back with you. You show me your grits.
Oh, okay. All right, folks. Good night, everybody. Eric, take us out. Take us out.
On behalf of Josh Matthews, Sam Ballard Jr., and his grits, I'm Eric Brennan. Hopefully, I'll be back in studio. If not, I will be at the lovely Staten Island, like Waldorf Astoria. And by Waldorf, I mean there's nothing on my wall.
Prison.
Walled off?
Yes.
Whatever.
Off. Waldorf.
Yeah.
Waldorf. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah.
Now it sounds right.
Mikey Nine Iron's going to be working there, doing some construction. I was just talking to him about it. Mikey Nine Iron Jr., that is. I'm tired. We're all tired. Time to go to bed. Grits and all. I'll be. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time on the RPM podcast.
Thanks for going to Wall.